Hi there, I'm Jordan. I'm a part-time illustrator and creator, and in an effort to spend less time scrolling on social media, I am diving deep into various creative hobbies, or in today's case, crochet. When I was younger, I loved trying out different types of crafts and hobbies like playing with clay, making friendship bracelets, and of course, crochet. I've wanted to take on a crochet project for a while now since I really only made practice projects like granny squares. I've had a few skeins of this unfortunately discontinued yarn for a really long time, and I am now finally taking the leap today, opening these up and making a scarf with them. Now, I am not a crocheter really, and by that I mean I'm not able to come up with my own patterns or design anything. So for this scarf, I will be following a pattern I saw Feeling Funky Co. make over on TikTok, and I will link it in the description as well. And no, the irony is not lost on me that I am making a video about scrolling less while advising you to go watch a TikTok. Now, as I've been on this journey to scroll less and create more, I am very quickly learning that I have not been making full use of the creative side of my mind. I didn't realize just how easily I could be distracted or just how short my attention span has become. I think this is a big reason as to why it's important for creatives to have creative hobbies. It helps with scrolling less by giving your hands something to do and your mind something to focus on. When I'm working on a craft project, I am actively making the choice to create rather than consume. Social media has encroached on such a large part of my free time over the last 5 years, and that is a habit that I am trying very hard to regain control of. I've said before that social media has its place in my life where I scroll with a limit of 15 minutes a day, preferably at the end of the day, and no other time is allotted to scrolling. That's my dream goal, and I would love to rigidly stick to that time limit each day, but I'm not perfect, and I oftentimes find myself extending that daily limit beyond those initial 15 minutes. I have found, though, that when I have free time and I choose to spend it pursuing a hobby like reading, crocheting, or crafting, my desire to scroll drastically decreases. I find myself getting so caught up in the activity that I really don't feel the need to reach for my phone. It's as if I'm giving my brain a much-needed break from the plethora of information that social media tends to throw at me. I feel so much more at peace when I spend my time engrossed in a creative activity, partly because these activities encourage mindfulness. As I'm making this scarf, I am focusing so much of my attention on completing each stitch and making sure that my tension is just right. Ultimately holding my attention in a positive way, which is a stark contrast to the minuscule attention span I have when I'm doom scrolling. When I'm not working in silence, I will put on a YouTube video. I've really been enjoying video essays from Mina Lee, or I'll simply listen to some music. These intentional, less stimulating habits are exactly what my overworked brain needs in order to reach my goal of scrolling less. Another positive thing to note for having hobbies as a creative person is the fact that I can create just for the sake of creating. I love that I can make whatever I want, and the results of any craft or project I take on doesn't really matter, making the stakes much lower. This is partly why I enjoy crochet so much, because it's fairly easy to do even with my pretty limited knowledge of just a few stitches, and thankfully with crochet it can very easily be taken apart. So the perfectionist side of myself and the more laid-back side don't have to really compete with one another. This leaves me with a lot of freedom and possibilities for what my project can become. The granny squares were simply experiments for me to gain my footing with crochet, so I was more comfortable taking on this project. Even though I'm making this scarf for myself, the tendency to make it look nice and neat is there, but not in the same way it would be if I were making this for a customer. When it comes to releasing that need for perfectionism, I think it helps a lot when the activity is calming with some kind of repetitive action, like crochet, embroidery, or even coloring. The fact that this repetitive action leads to a completed project is also incredibly rewarding, and it leaves me feeling accomplished. So for me, it's less about making sure each stitch is perfect and more about getting lost in these steps of creating, because it kind of becomes mindless and freeing the more you do it. As a working artist, I think it is so important to have something that is just for you. Creative hobbies like sculpting or dancing, crafting, baking and cooking, and so many more are all great ways to make something without the stress or expectation that can come from a creative career. It can be so easy to get burnt out in a field where you're being paid to be creative, so developing a creative outlet on the side can really help reframe your creative mind for the better. As I've been on this journey to scroll less and create more, I am realizing that it's more about balance than anything. It's okay to scroll for a limited amount of time, but substituting that time I would have spent scrolling with more mindful, creative hobbies allows me to set boundaries that will help kick my bad habit and create a more fulfilled version of myself in the long run. This more balanced way of living gives my mind a nice break from the constant influx of content by prioritizing my creativity and overall well-being. As someone who dabbles in lots of different creative hobbies, I've seen firsthand the positive impact that flexing those creative muscles can have when you are mindful and don't take it too seriously. Now, I'm only just starting out on my journey into crochet, and I am loving every bit of it so far. I think the scarf is absolutely beautiful, and I am just so impressed with my own work. I have to pat myself on the back for this one because I think it looks so good. Taking on this project was something that I am so glad that I took the time to pursue, and I cannot wait for all the other projects I can take on now because I have kind of upped my confidence by completing this one. I honestly think a crochet cardigan is up next on my list. It's a bit ambitious, but I think I can manage. I hope that this video has encouraged you to try something new or pick up a hobby you maybe pushed to the side in the past. Either way, my hope is that you go out there and get crafting. I would love to hear about some of the creative hobbies you dabble in down in the comments because I am always looking for other creative outlets to pursue in my free time. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!